In this video, I'm going to share with you 6 of my very top tips to help lower your blood pressure naturally. Please do watch the very end because some of these tips you're never told about. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about blood pressure numbers. Unless you are told otherwise by your medical provider, I'm going to make this bit very simple. Aim to have an average home blood pressure of 130/80 millimeters of mercury or below that. That is a very good blood pressure, but if you're starting to see it creep up above that, and it's constantly above that, and it's averaging above that, then speak to your medical provider because blood pressure, as you're probably aware, is the silent killer. You don't get any symptoms and it's increasing your risk of strokes, heart attack, kidney damage, and even damage to your brain. But please don't worry too much because in this video I'm going to teach you how to lower your blood pressure naturally, and just by keeping your blood pressure to target can lower your risk of heart attacks and stroke by a massive 30%, okay? Now let's learn what you need to do. So let's kick things off with tip number 1. A lot of you are not gonna like this one, but you need to cut down your caffeine intake. Every time you have a cup of coffee, for example, it spikes your blood pressure for up to 3 hours, okay? So you have a drink, it spikes, it comes back down. You have another drink, it spikes. This keeps happening, okay? So if you're drinking lots of coffee, if you're drinking lots of tea, if you're drinking lots of energy drinks, you've got to cut them down or cut them out completely if you can, okay? This will reduce that roller coaster ride of blood pressure, helping us naturally lower things. And flying straight into tip number 2. Look at that. That is 1 teaspoon of salt. That is equivalent to 6 grams of salt, okay? You can have up to that much salt per day. It looks like quite a lot, doesn't it? But believe it or not, most people average about 8 grams or more of salt every single day, okay? So that is more than that. So, to help us lower our blood pressure naturally, make sure you're cutting down on your salt intake. Do not have more than 6 grams, which is that much, 1 teaspoon of salt. I know this looks like a tablespoon, but believe me, that is a teaspoon, and don't exceed it. And experiment with herbs and spices and bring some flavor into your life, apart from the salt. Let's move on. Straight on to tip number 3. This only applies if you are overweight, but losing just 2.2 pounds can lower your blood pressure by 1 millimeter of mercury, okay? So just imagine the more you lose, and once you get to a healthy weight status, the more your blood pressure is gonna drop as well. If you do want some help on losing weight, do follow the Abraham diet. It's my very own diet. It's helped, well, over 25 million people have watched it on YouTube. The diet is very easy and you can lose up to 2.2 pounds each week, okay? And also lower your dangerous visceral fat. I will leave links to it down here and you can find it on my channel. Next tip is all about sleep, because believe it or not, if you're not getting good quality sleep and not the right amount of hours of sleep, which is preferably 8 hours per night, it's gonna increase your blood pressure. So make sure you're getting the hours, make sure you're getting a good quality of sleep, and if you want help on that, I have loads of videos on it. Check them out on my channel. Jogging straight into tip number 5 is all about exercise. Believe it or not, just by doing 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise every single day can lower your blood pressure by 5 to 8 millimeters of mercury, which is fantastic, okay? So aim for 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise. I'm gonna have a list of exercises coming up here as well so that you can read up which one is moderate. Let's move on. So next up, here's my pro tip for blood pressure monitors and making sure the blood pressure monitor that you are using at home is clinically validated for accuracy. So on the validated device list, we call it VDL for short. This is done by the American Medical Association, Hypertension Canada, and the British or Irish Society of Hypertension, okay? Because believe me, a lot of the blood pressure monitors out there that you buy on Amazon are not on the validated device list, so basically they are not accurate. Now, I've been using A&D medical blood pressure monitors for years in my own clinical practice because 1, they are an absolute workhorse when it comes to blood pressure monitors, and 2, they are clinically validated for accuracy by all the organizations I just spoke about, and this is through formal studies. And to learn more about A&D Medical and their brilliant products, I will leave links to them in the description below. Definitely do check them out. A&D Medical, thank you for being our trusted sponsor. Straight on to tip number 6. I don't think enough people talk about alcohol and blood pressure, okay? If you're drinking a lot of alcohol, if you're drinking more than the recommended amount, that's 14 units per week spread over 3 or more days. So if you are having more than that, it's gonna increase your blood pressure. And if you are on blood pressure medication, by the way, it's gonna reduce the effectiveness of it as well. So try and cut down to the healthy recommended amount, or try and cut less than that as well. It's all going to help lower our blood pressure naturally. Now, when it comes to taking your blood pressure at home, there's many things that I see my very own patients doing which increases their blood pressure readings, okay? So it's really important you're using your blood pressure monitor correctly. You're using the right cuff size, and also temperature is also really important. Now, I have videos on all of these topics as well, so if you want to learn more about them, please do watch my videos, and sending awesome vibes.